Hi, I'm Scott Helmers, and with me is David Parker, fellow Visio MVP. In another video in this training series, David showed us how to import a CAD diagram and use the space plan template in Visio to create a building layout. We're going to go a couple of steps beyond that today, aren't we, David?
Yes, indeed we are, Scott. We're going to hopefully set up a BI dashboard here because I have got my space shapes, as you can see here, selected, and I've got the external data record set, which is an Excel spreadsheet in this particular case, displayed at the bottom. I'm going to close that because what I'm going to concentrate on here is the data graphics. So if we move in a little bit and have a look at some of these spaces, right, we can see that they are all the areas, and we can see of each of the rooms there. And there are certain custom properties or shape data, as you can see down the left-hand side.
Right.
Now what I want to do now is to set some data graphics on here.
Okay, so we can see the data rather than just have to go look at the numbers in the text in the shape data window.
It's a lot easier, isn't it? And I get a little bit bored with all these green slash lines across there. So let's go to the data graphics here, and we're going to create a new data graphic. And when we go into these new items, let's choose some fields. Okay. An easy one here, department. Okay. All right, if I went to look at department, you can see color by value. It's given me a nice little list of here all the different departments that are in there, and I could apply a color to using the defaults that it's been suggested, or I could go off and edit that and choose some other colors if I wanted to. I could have a look at the text and change the text color if I wanted to. I'll just accept the default for now.
And what's nice is Visio has already figured out for you all of the departments that appear on the page, and it's assigned a color to every one of them. That's cool.
That's right. So let's do OK. And if I apply that, you can see that's applied there.
That's
now let's put that over all of the shapes so we can see a nice little effect of what that has there. Okay. So I'm going to go and select my areas, or my spaces by the layer.
So rather than just drag and select, you're actually selecting all shapes that are on a specific layer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and let's go to our data graphics, and we're going to apply that. And
very nice. And you even had live preview, so if you had multiple data graphics to choose from, you could take a look at the preview.
That was cool.
Yes.
Okay, let's move in a little bit more then. Right, now we're in here. We're editing our data graphics. Let's add a bit more into the data graphics. Okay. So let's edit this, and I'll add a new item. The other thing that I want to have on here is the phone number. I haven't got that there in the spaces.
Okay.
I do have some text already there, and that's come from the space shapes themselves, and that's not going to change, but the phones might get swapped out, and I'm going to have a different extension in there. So I'm going to choose text.
Okay.
There are various different options, as you can see, within the text options for these data graphics. I'm going to choose the circle layout, but I'm not going to use it as a circle, more of a lozenge, if you like. I'm going to go down to the value length here. And I know that each of these phone numbers, as you can see over on the left-hand side, phone number is 5 characters long. So if I do 5 characters long, I can do that. And in a moment, I'm going to set the default position for a lot of these to go into the center, I think. Center, middle. Okay. And do OK. And now when I apply that...
it appears instantly.
It appears instantly.
Okay.
Yeah. I like that. In case I forget, I'm just going to set that as my default.
Okay, good idea.
So now I've got the phone number. Another thing that I want to add in there is the space use. Okay, because the space use here, I've got offices, I've got conference, but you could have others. You could have storage. You could have whatever you'd like it to be, really. Sure. So I'm going to add in a new item down here, and I'm going to go down to space use. If I look at the space use down there, in this case, well, I'll just go and check which values I'm going to use. All right, the color by value is handy for that.
Yeah, because it does tell me what values are already on the page.
Yeah. And you can see conferences used.
Okay.
I'm just going to copy that because I'm lazy. Go to the icon set. Now, these are the default icon sets that we've got within there. Let's choose something which might look like it's a conference room or an office. Now, maybe
smiley faces
in the maybe not. Okay, let's go for something like this then. And let's choose for the conference room. It's going to have a nice little green spot. And for the offices, we'll have this little diamond down there.
So this is actually a really simple way to equate a shape or color selection with a particular value. So that's great.
Yeah. And just in case it decides to go somewhere else, let's put that there. And when I apply this, hey, look at that.
Okay, so now we have a diagram on which shapes are colored, and we can see the value behind the shapes simply by the data graphics that you've created. Now, the only problem I would have is I'd forget what green versus blue means, or what a green circle versus a red circle means. Can Visio help me with that?
Yes, it can. I'm glad you reminded me of that.
Okay.
Up here on the display data group, we've got the ability of adding in a legend, which can be horizontal or vertical by default. Let's go for horizontal one, and we add that down there. And if I zoom in on this, we can see that it is giving me.
Excellent. So an automatic legend, it gets dropped right in the upper right-hand corner of the diagram every time. So that's great.
I can then resize that, make it bigger if I wanted to, and reposition it on the page.
Okay. Now, the next problem I have is, this is great the way it is, but this is static at the moment. What happens if something changes? What happens if the data in the spreadsheet changes?
Okay, well, I do have the spreadsheet open behind here. So if I bring up this spreadsheet, we can see at the moment there's no department applied to any of the conference rooms.
Okay.
Okay, let me just take a few departments and apply it to some of the conference rooms that we have there.
Okay.
Okay, and if I then save this spreadsheet, as you would do, we've got Latvia, Slovakia, Czech, and Hungary. Should now, when I press refresh, let's get a bit closer and see where these countries are in the world, which I believe are Hungary. Here we have, for example, Czech and Latvia. Now if we refresh, and hey presto, the color has changed.
Okay, so now by updating the spreadsheet, we've done two things. The drawing is dynamically linked to the data in the Excel spreadsheet, and the presentation of the data graphics is dynamic based on the data. So if we change the spreadsheet, the data graphics in the diagram change.
Yeah.
So we truly have a living dashboard here. It reflects the status up to the time that we click the refresh button.
Or indeed, we can set that on a timer. I can refresh periodically.
That's great to know. Well, thank you very much, David. This has been a great overview of ways that we can use Visio to not only display data creatively, but keep that data presentation alive and dynamic based on changes in the underlying data.